last week on Gleeboot, they did Glee, gave me a new Glee song live. We declared Kitty a terrorist yet again, and Cassandra July is a predator and a menace to society. That's what you missed on Gleeboot.
Yay! Cullen, your puns are out of this world. I cannot even hope to stand up to them.
I don't know what that means, but okay, thank you.
Okay, you're welcome.
Gleeboot.
Welcome back to Gleeboot, the show where we get drunk and talk about rebooting Glee. I'm Cullen.
Alyssa.
Hannah's not here. And we have...
And I'm Liz.
We have Liz.
Yes, Liz. Welcome.
One of my BFFs from college.
Huzzah!
Liz is here. Liz is another podcaster.
Oh,
Yes.
you are? I didn't know that.
I am. So my friends and I recently started a podcast, like a year ago. It is called The Slug Club, and it is available on Spotify and Apple Podcasts and Anchor. And we talk about all things Harry Potter. So it's not your typical read through the book and tell us what you think. We talk more about, like, is Snape a good man? And who's worse, Umbridge or Voldemort? So,
Oh my goodness.
yeah, right? So,
Oh, wow. I'm definitely into this. I'm definitely going to have to check it out.
yes, super fun. We unfortunately don't get drunk on that one. So that one's a little bit less friendly in that regard. But yes, highly recommend if you're a Harry Potter fan.
I definitely, when you said the Slug Club, I was like, please let this be like them fighting or something. I don't know. I was
We actually
fully-
pull all of our pet slugs together, and
Yeah.
they form a club. It's like a babysitter's club. Meet
Yes.
slugs.
Can you imagine? Okay, what is the more boring podcast to listen to? Slugs being babysat or a slug fight where you are just hearing people hit each other?
I'd definitely be more interested in the slug fight, especially if the literal slugs were fighting each other, because I feel like that would just be one trying to eat the other one. And I'd be interested to see that.
So, but you wouldn't see it. You'd listen to it because it's a podcast.
You would. That's right. But
We
I feel
could
like
have-
it would be very descriptive.
Yes, super lit commentary.
Mhm.
Yes,
Yeah.
but I'm sure your Slug Club is way more interesting than either of those ideas. So,
I hope so.
me too, because I'm going to listen to it. So,
So I thought Liz would be kind of a good guest because Harry Potter is kind of a superhero in a way.
oh, yes. I was like, our podcast has nothing to do with superheroes. What are you talking about, Cullen?
This week it does.
Wow, totally blanked on the episode we just watched. Yeah.
So before I get into that, Liz, what is your journey with the show Glee?
Yeah. So Glee first came out when I was in high school, right around the time of the Great Recession. So Liz's parents didn't have cable at that time. So I'd seen about one episode of Glee because a friend wanted me to watch it. I don't remember much from what I was just told who is the principal. All I remember is him introducing the Glee Club and saying they're performing songs by K.E. $Ha. So, or maybe K $ha. But yeah, so I have almost no experience with Glee. I know a few of their covers because I remember the Warblers were really big. Like listening to their mashups. Also, my go-to karaoke song is Total Eclipse of the Heart by Bonnie Tyler, which is amazing. It has a lot of high notes, so it's definitely great for when you're drunk and doing karaoke. And so I know that they've done a cover of that. So that's about all of my experience with Glee up until yesterday when I watched episode 7, season 4, Dynamic Duos. And that's all I have to say, because that's all I've got.
Woo!
I remember singing karaoke Total Eclipse of the Heart with Liz while driving to Salem, Massachusetts, because Liz came to visit me in Boston. And that was a highlight.
There are a lot of high notes. It's even worse when you're not drunk because it sounds worse.
Well, I'm glad you weren't drunk while driving to Salem, Massachusetts.
I was a little hungover, if Colin remembers that. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Wait, so then are you friends from BU?
No, from Oakland University in Rochester, Michigan.
So you must have come to visit. Well,
Yes.
Okay,
Mhm.
I see.
Yeah. Liz flew out there for the weekend, her first time in Boston, and had a Boston cream pie in Boston, as one does.
I never had one. I was there for 2 years and I never had a Boston cream pie.
Well, you did Boston wrong.
Yeah,
So
maybe.
Yeah.
If that's all that Boston has to offer, I'm thinking maybe it's not like the greatest city.
Well, it also has tea, or you should drink tea while you're there.
I did have tea while I was there.
So you got at least half of it.
Yeah.
Mm.
Okay, 2 things Boston has to offer. Boston cream pie and tea.
I always tell people to get the cannolis.
The cannolis were great.
Those were bomb. Yes.
They were. And there was like low-key wars going on between the 2 cannoli shops.
Yeah.
So
I didn't experience that, but I do remember the best cannoli I've ever had was with Cullen in Boston. So
yes.
very good. They're very good.
So speaking of being hungover, what are we drinking today?
Well, I am drinking a local wine to where I live in southeastern Michigan from Spicer's Winery, which is located in Heartland, Michigan. It's called Honey White, and basically it tastes like honey, and it's delicious. The description is prevailing honey, peach, and cinnamon, complementing apple and apricot cousins. Perfect for dessert.
That sounds delicious. My
It
drink,
tastes just like honey.
I have officially gone back to creating my drinks and just throwing random alcohols together, which was, a little bit easier this time around because Colin had some people over a while ago and there's a lot of alcohol in the house now.
Yes.
So I put together 2 ounces of vodka, 1 ounce of almond Baileys, and 1 ounce of coconut liqueur, with the rest of the drink being cranberry juice. I call it a cranberry cream. It has a lovely color that is like Pepto-Bismol, and it's really, really delicious. Very tart, but on the sweet side. I enjoy it. I massively, really, really like it. It's good.
It looks good. I'm
I
drinking.
like that name, the cranberry cream. It's like peaches and cream.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel
It's
like
better.
someone has probably already come up with this drink, but if they didn't, I'm definitely fully taking credit because it's really good.
I'm drinking an Arrogant Bastard ale. My brother bought it while he was visiting. It is disgusting.
Wow. Okay.
Not a fan, but it is alcohol, and you have a lot of alcohol in the house, as Alyssa said. So I'm trying to slowly work through it.
Do you want to taste this or make
Yes.
it the rest of your beer worse?
I don't care. Yeah, that's really good. That's really good.
It tastes delicious. I'm so sorry that what is that?
Arrogant Bastard ale. It tastes like an arrogant bastard.
It's got a devil face on the front. So
The OG Arrogant Bastard, Satan himself.
wow, yeah.
So, Liz, BuzzFeed quizzes. What were your results?
Oh my gosh. Colin, let me tell you. First off, I have to say I'm a little disappointed in my results. I'm just going to throw that out there. I only know one of the characters. I don't know who this other one is, but so want to know which Glee character you are is who I'm going to reveal first. This is the character that I don't know. Her name is Quinn Fabray.
Oh, okay.
Quinn Fabray was kind of the queen bee before
Yes.
she graduated.
Yes.
Is she kind of a jerk? That's what I'm getting from like the picture that they show.
She's a jerk because the writers hate women.
Yes, they portray her as a jerk, but if she was written correctly with all of the things that she actually went through, if they like wrote her like a real human being, she would be amazing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it says you're smart, mature, and glamorous, which I would agree with 2 of the 3. I'll let you figure out which one you don't agree with. Apparently, I've made some pretty big mistakes, but I've learned from them. I don't know that I've made any life-shattering mistakes in my life, but I'll go with it. And I've often lend my guidance to those who need it, which I would probably agree. I give advice. It's usually not taken, and maybe for the best. But, yep.
Yeah. Quinn's a great character to be, especially now because, well, a lot of the other seniors are like back on the show. Quinn is busy in college at Yale. So it's just kind of like,
she went to Yale, so
it's just kind of like, yeah, good for you, Quinn. You grew up.
Well, then I'm really glad that I got her because it sounds like she's smarter than I am. So, yeah. This second quiz I'm a little disappointed with. Who my boyfriend from Glee is, I got Finn Hudson. I think he's supposed to be the one that all the girls love. But just from the exposure that I had of that last episode, not a fan. But I could be wrong because I don't really know who he is. But it says Finn's the leader who will always have my back and put me before himself, which I do appreciate. So
Finn's a mixed bag. It really depends on the episode with Finn.
Yeah, it's like whatever they're feeling is what you get with Finn. He how do I put this? I feel like as a boyfriend, that the part where he says he's always going to put you before himself is very, very true. And that is a red flag. So in his case, it's a red flag.
Okay, like if a zombie is coming, it has to eat one of us, he's going to put me in front so that he can run away. Is that what you mean by a red flag?
No. He will sacrifice himself for you, and then he'll survive and hold it over you for the rest of your life.
Okay. Well, in that case, I will definitely make sure that he does not survive.
Good deal.
I will find myself a different boyfriend. But I'm not quite sure what my options were from the bag of the quiz, but yeah. Just like that.
Hannah just texted me. Hannah can't be here, but she texted me her thoughts on the episode.
We have to be Hannah's voice now?
Yep.
I can't handle it. I can only be my voice.
I'll do it then. It wasn't too bad structure-wise, which I agree. I actually really enjoyed this episode. It was fucking bananas.
Yeah, wacky are my words.
At first, I thought the superhero stuff was dumb, but then it grew on me. Kitty is being weirdly nice and the worst. Still hate Jake's voice. The Warbler storyline was really stupid and pointless, even if the meaning behind it was about William McKinley High School, all reminding him of Kurt was okay. In no world would those superhero costumes be up to dress code for boys or girls. Asian persuasion and chai tea are uber cringe. Brittany gave Finn a Barbie head. Oh my fucking God. I literally can't remember anything else that happened.
Okay, Hannah. Okay.
So that was our Hannah corner.
Hannah's corner.
So can I pause this for a second? This being the only episode that I've seen, basically. Was this wearing a superheroes thing? Was this brought in last episode or was this random just this episode?
Just this episode.
Well, a few episodes ago, Blaine sang Everybody Wants to Rule the World, and he joined several clubs, including like a D&D club and a superhero club. So we had established Blaine was part of a superhero club.
Yeah, I still am going to say that it's only this episode.
Okay.
You can make all of those tenuous connections yourself, but I'm going to go out there and say if that connection was actually something legitimately that they wanted to make, they should have made it more clear.
Yeah. I remember seeing this episode, season 4, episode 7, Dynamic Duets, at my cousin's house on Thanksgiving. And being like, I remember seeing like a few episodes early on in the show and I hadn't seen it for a while and I was in college then. So like I really hadn't seen it for a while. So I basically was like, what the fuck has happened to this show? Yeah. Like, who are these characters? What's going on?
It's real weird. I want to say this is probably right around the time of the very beginnings of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Would that be accurate?
It was November 2012. I don't know when the Marvel movies came out.
What did Marvel have out during 2012?
That probably would have been like when maybe the first Avengers came out, because Iron Man came out, I think, like 2008 or whatever.
Yeah, so it would have been the very beginning of how they were actually tying all of the movies together, and everyone was very into the superhero movies, which I still am. I love Marvel. I'm just going to go out there and say it. This is nothing like Marvel at all. But I think they're definitely riding the superhero train for one episode.
Yes. So our storylines today, we have our main storyline, which is just about Blaine. We have a Finn storyline, and we have the love triangle storyline. So let's talk about my boy Blaine. So it opens with a meeting of the superhero club. He is Nightbird, which is basically Nightwing, which is what Robin becomes when he's older, which works because Blaine has a very Robin look.
He does look like Robin.
Yeah. And there's like a meeting of superheroes, and Sam is doing like a George Bush impersonation.
What are all of their names again? Okay, so Sam is
Blonde Chameleon.
Oh my gosh, yep.
Tina is Asian Persuasion because her character trait is Asian.
Yeah.
And then Brittany's the human brain. Artie's trying to be Professor X, but Blaine's like, that would be a copyright violation.
So he's Professor Y instead.
Becky is there. Becky is Queen Bee. Because she stings like a bitch.
Comes in as Queen Bee, yes.
Which I love, by the way.
Yes. And I was really excited to go around the table. So there were at least 8 people in this meeting.
Yeah, and we only met the named characters.
Yes, we only met the superhero personas of 3 of them who were actually sitting at the table, because they were in Glee Club. And I was like, I want to know who the rest of these people are. Because we never got that fulfillment.
Sugar is there, and his power is money.
Yes.
Joe is there, and he can whip people with his dreads.
I mean, honestly, Sugar's superpower is real. So
yeah. That can take her to space.
She actually has that superpower, so good on her.
Yeah. Unique is not in this episode.
No, you're right.
No Unique. But Sugar's here. And because Sugar and Joe, as many of the listeners will know, we never know when they'll be in the show. We never know when they'll be in the Glee Club. Yeah. Sometimes they're there, sometimes they're not.
Yeah. They should have been kicked out by now.
Yeah. So then they find out that their Nationals trophy has been stolen by the Warblers.
How do they find this out?
They left a laptop in the choir room.
Yeah, so this entire episode is shot like a really cheesy superhero B movie.
Like the Adam West Batman.
Yeah. So like the trophy is gone, and there's a laptop in the trophy case, and they have the dramatic music and like the zoom in on the laptop, and it's very like I described it before, but like way more annoying.
I enjoyed it.
So that's actually the very first note that I have written when I was watching this episode is the cinematography always like this, or is it just because it's a superhero thing?
Just because it's a superhero.
Okay. Thing. Yeah.
I appreciate it. I thought it was pretty corny, but I agree with Cullen. Like, I kind of liked it. It was different. Yeah. Not what I was expecting.
Yeah, I would agree with that. It definitely wasn't what I was expecting. And I think maybe I thought it was annoying because it took me a long time to get on that train. Once I got on it, I was like, all right, here we go. What's going to happen next? Mm-hmm. But I just wasn't there for it at the beginning. I was like, this is really, really cheesy.
So Blaine decides to go to Dalton to find what happened to the trophy. So he goes there and he sees the Flash, Grant Gustin. I'm forgetting the character's name. Sebastian. Sebastian is the character's name. And he's like, oh, I know it was you. And Sebastian's like, no assault, no blackmail this year. I'm being really nice and it's boring. I'm no longer captain of the Warblers. The captain you need to see is in there. And so Blaine goes into the Warblers room and swiveling in a chair, petting a cat is Hunter Clarington, who isn't even remotely bi-curious.
I laughed out loud. I was like, wow, they really know that everyone thinks that all of the Warblers are gay.
And he's there because he wants Blaine back because the Nationals trophy was a fluke and he would hate to see Blaine sidelined his senior year because he heard he was a Warbler. And they're like, let's sing a song. So they give him the jacket. And
I feel like we're going really fast through the scene.
Yeah, I'm just kind of going through the scene.
Yes, we're going really quickly.
Do you have other things you want to say?
Yes.
Okay.
So Blaine only wants the trophy. But the villain is being very, very villainous and trying to like talk him into being a turncoat, basically.
Yeah.
And Blaine is very hands-off, doesn't want to have anything to do with it until they offer him the blazer, the actual coat of which he is turning.
And then they're like...
Can I point out, he was a Warbler before, so he did already have that blazer before.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, he has one in his closet at home.
Mm-hmm.
Confirming. Okay.
Confirmed, yes.
Because he points out they call him Blaine Warbler.
Which they do.
But isn't it mainly Brittany who's like, doesn't know actual people's names?
But
who can't tell different Black people apart?
Yeah, Brittany's Brittany. Was it a thing while Glee was running that people called Blaine Warbler?
Rachel called him Blaine Warbler when she kissed him when they were getting drunk.
I mean, the audience.
I don't know.
Okay, because they're being
Rachel
very audience
him, or
forward.
did they kiss each other?
They kissed each other. They were playing Spin the Bottle.
Oh, okay. So it was like not by choice.
Yeah, so Rachel and Kurt are in New York, and I thought I was going to be more interested in the Rachel and Kurt stuff, but Rachel and Kurt have not really been in some of the episodes recently.
I'm okay with that.
And we're okay with it. Yeah. We're just kind of like, we don't really care. Just be in New York.
They kind of like disappear off of the face of the earth, as one does when you're in Ohio and everyone else is in New York.
Yeah.
But you just sort of forget them. Like you do to the actual people who live in New York.
You just forget everyone that lives in New York.
You're too busy.
Speak with them.
Do you know people in New York?
I know one person in New York, but I don't actually know them.
Okay.
Oh, and you're just like, and we're moving on.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't know what to unpack. So Blaine is my boy. I was assigned Blaine. And so I related to him because he can't resist a Kelly Clarkson song.
Of all of the songs that they decided to sing this episode, I don't think any of them truly felt like superhero songs.
Holding Out for a Hero, we'll get there.
Can I interject?
Yeah.
When Cullen told me that we were going to be talking about dynamic duets, I was really excited because I'm a huge sucker for duets. Like Taylor Swift and with literally anybody duet. Love it. Not a single one of the songs in here was a duet. It was like a one person that they made into a smash up of a duet. And I have to say I was a little bit disappointed in the song choices because they could have picked one. There was like a legitimate.
Oh, you mean like not rewritten to be a duet, but originally a duet.
but then they
Gotcha.
changed a little bit. I don't know. I was very confused and I was waiting the whole episode. I'm like, one's coming. I know it. And then one didn't come. That's my comment.
Yeah. Usually when they do duets, they just pick random songs and have two of the characters sing them.
Yeah.
Which I can appreciate, taking creative liberties, but also missed opportunity by not picking an actual duet.
Sure.
Yeah. You're right. So they sing Dark Side, I guess because they're luring him to the dark side.
It's not a very good Dark Side song, though. It's too poppy. I feel
What
like,
was your Dark Side? Music of the Night?
Yes.
I don't know. There's a lot of dark songs that ooh.
Hellfire for Hunchback of Notre Dame.
Wow.
On Glee.
Wow.
Yes.
What are we? I mean, Arsonist Lullaby. That's pretty dark.
I don't know what that is.
No, it's a Hosier song.
Okay.
He has some nice dark songs. I like my dark songs, okay? There's one I know that is like about hanging people from a tree. There's
Okay. Yeah.
What? Darkness makes good music, okay? And this is not darkness. This is someone who like saw her own shadow and it was like, oh shit, my shadow.
She was talking about her dark side. Everyone has a dark side. Will you love me? Will you
It's
go
called
mine?
a shadow.
Mine.
Yes, everyone does have a shadow.
Okay.
Another great song. Hello, darkness, my old friend.
There you go. See, that's a good one too. And
Yeah.
it's much more dark just because it's in a minor key.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. I love that song in the Trolls movie.
Oh, yeah. Wow. You're really showing your dark side.
The darkest song that I really like is Sing Me to Sleep by the Smiths.
Okay. I don't, maybe I know it. I'd have to hear it.
I don't know it, but I'm going to add it to my Spotify list to listen to on my way to work tomorrow. You're going to have to repeat the name of the song, though, because I've already forgotten.
Asleep by the Smiths.
Asleep.
Did Blaine sing this song in a different key than it normally is sung in?
I don't know.
Because it sounded very off to me. And I don't know if it was a different key or if it's just because they were doing it like typically, like I know that song, but I don't know it well enough to be able to nail what was different about it. But I just didn't really like the rendition. I'm not sure what it was.
Well, it was sung in a cappella.
Yeah, maybe
I'll throw
that's
that out
it.
there.
Could be.
Could be.
When they put the jacket on Blaine, I forgot to mention this. There's like a shot of like the fireplace roaring and the cat.
He's officially gone over to villains.
So Blaine is kind of charmed by all this, and he goes over to Finn, and he's all like, "This whole choir reminds me of Kurt. I came here for Kurt, and I cheat on him, and that's gone. I just want to be part of a place where I feel like I belong. You need a team that gels." And Finn is like, "Yeah, we need a team with a lot of gel."
And he's talking about the gel that Blaine uses in his hair.
But Blaine decides to leave, and Finn is talking to the Glee Club, and he's like, Blaine's going through a rough time, and Tina's like, yeah, blah, blah, blah. It's like a bad Lifetime movie. Then he's like, he's gone over to the Warblers. And they're all like, what? And Artie's like, he's gone to the dark side. And I'm like, Artie, the only true dark side is you, because you are the worst. You don't really see that in this episode, but he is. And then Sam has a pensive look. Sam loves the pensive look in the background.
Well, they have not yet convinced me that Sam is an idiot. I will never be convinced that Sam is an idiot. I think he knows what's going on all the time.
So Sam goes to Blaine and he's like, when are you going to forgive yourself for cheating on Kurt? I feel like you're exiling yourself to Dalton. You're trying to punish yourself.
Nailed it.
Yeah, emotional intelligence. He nailed it. And Blaine's just like, I don't know. I just want to run away. And Sam is like, you're doing that thing where you know, what's that word where you make somebody a villain? And Blaine is like, villainized. And so he's like, give me a day to convince you to stay. So they sing, Sam starts singing David Bowie's Heroes. And it shows there's like suddenly a wall with graffiti that's never been mentioned before.
I think they were supposed to be like doing
community service,
but why? Like,
because they didn't want to hire actors to be at like a soup kitchen or something. They didn't want to deal with cleaning up a freeway. They're like, we're gonna paint a wall.
They were on a budget.
At what time ever has anyone ever mentioned doing community service type things ever? I would be just as confused if they randomly showed up in a soup kitchen.
They've been in a soup kitchen before.
Yeah, during Christmas.
Yeah.
It was a Christmas episode. This is very different.
So they're just like painting the wall and they all start painting each other. And I'm like, some of those clothes don't look like painting clothes. They look nice.
Yeah, I was like,
OMG, Cullen, literal note that I have written down. Who paints in fancy outfits? The one girl was wearing her cheerleading outfit and she was getting paint all over it. Like, do you know how I was not a cheerleader, obviously, looking at myself. But who? I know those are expensive.
yeah.
Why were you painting in that? Fools.
Honestly,
Yes, they were acting like fools.
It was the weirdest thing because they all had like super clean, super nice clothes on, and then I expected some shit to go down when like they flicked paint on each other for fun. Like, you don't do that. There's gonna be some anger. No, it didn't happen. Everyone just got into a paint fight.
It was cute though. They were having fun. It was like, yay, they're all friends. Even though some of them,
Yeah, I don't know. It was weird. It was weird for me because I don't see any of them as heroes and none of them are particularly into helping the community and that has never been mentioned. And also I didn't like the song.
You don't like David Bowie?
I said I didn't like the song.
Okay, it's a David Bowie song.
Yeah, but not liking a song and not liking a person is a very different thing.
Okay.
I will agree with you. I'm not the biggest fan of that song. There are lots of other great David Bowie songs that I am a fan of. Heroes is not one of them.
Yeah.
And this was before that song, the song that like the only lyric is "We could be heroes," basically. They played it in the Lego Batman movie.
Oh yeah. You know what I wanted in this episode that I didn't get? The Kryptonite song. No? The very classic, I think it's 90s or 2000s song.
Who sings it?
I don't remember.
How does it go?
3 Doors Down, Kryptonite.
Yep, that one, 3 Doors Down.
I don't know what the song is. I literally just Googled Kryptonite song. So
maybe I'm the only one who knows this.
It's a 90s song. Liz Lauer's family was listening to Christian radio at that time. So
so was mine.
Yeah.
If they did this song now, they could have the Chris Daughtry song, Superman.
Mm-hmm. I feel like there's a lot better options these days.
Yeah.
But I still want Kryptonite. That's such a good song. He sings about like if you knew what my kryptonite was, something about like still loving. I don't know.
What about it's by the guy who does 15, that song, the one like I'm only a mile in a funny red sheet. That one?
Yes.
No, but yes. I want you to keep singing.
I think it's called Superman or something.
Yeah, that's a good song. I would have recognized that over Heroes. Like,
I don't know if it's better than Heroes, but it's definitely better than the REM song they sang at one point.
yeah, I don't know. The song choices were questionable.
Yeah, so Sam and Blaine sing Heroes, and I love their budding friendship. And so they paint, and they have their little paint fight. And then Sam and Blaine go back to Dalton and they steal the trophy back. We don't really see how they do it.
Nope. You just see them running across the grass.
They're running across the field and it goes like, blam, slain, because those are their ship names.
Do you know how long it took me to figure that out?
Yes.
A very long time.
You're gonna have to just explain this to me like I'm 5.
Okay.
So like every Glee character that can be paired with another has a ship name.
Okay.
So Finn and Rachel were Finchel, Santana and Brittany were Britannia, Kurt and Blaine were what was it? We call them Blurt, but Klain was their official name.
Okay.
We call them Blurt because it's funnier.
It is funnier.
So Slain and Blam were the two debated ship names for Sam and Blaine. I personally prefer Blam.
Yes. Well, I was very confused because Blam is also like
a sound effect.
It's a sound effect in comics, and that's how it popped up on the screen. And I was like, Blam, okay, they hit something. Wait, no, what is slain? What? That's what went through my brain. And then it took me a while, but I was like, oh, it's their ship name. And this is like one of several moments in this episode where the writers are directly talking to the fans and the audience. Like,
yeah,
they wrote it for the fans, and it's almost breaking the fourth wall.
They write it for the fans, yet as far as I know, Sam and Blaine never kiss, which is disappointing.
Is Sam
is not gay
or bi-curious?
He's straight, but we've always felt, or we talked about how he gives bi vibes.
He's very straight, but he is one of the most like at ease with his sexuality. So if he at any point was like, oh yeah, sure, I'm bi, there would be no problem. Like, he would just be bi. And if he found out he was gay, he'd just be gay, because that's how he is. Like, his sexuality is just very casual, and he's not all pent up about things inside.
Okay. Yeah. During the episode, he was trying to get with the brown-haired girl, right?
No, that's Ryder and Jake.
Oh, okay. Those are different people.
Sam is the blonde guy.
Sam's
Ryder
very,
is also
very
blonde, right?
Ryder's like a light
dirty
brown.
blonde.
Okay.
Yeah.
One of them was trying. Oh, okay. Okay. They are both blonde and they're both white males, which is why I was getting confused.
It's like watching The Crown. Whenever I watch that show, I'm like, there's so many old white people, I can't tell them apart.
I don't know who's who. Okay, I see now. Yeah, these boys look exactly the same. I'm gonna be honest. So, and there you have it.
I can see that.
Yeah, well, Ryder came on the show from a little show called The Glee Project, which was a reality show to compete to get on Glee. And there are all these very interesting, diverse people. And then they went with, what's his name?
A straight white male.
A straight white male. What's his?
I don't know what his real name is.
Oh, I know it. And
yeah, I have no idea.
I'm forgetting it.
Moment of crisis for Cullen.
Moment of crisis, but he was the most boring person on the show.
He was.
Even among the other white males on the show.
And I was just like, why did they pick him? Because he was, quote unquote, the most talented. So, I don't know. I don't even know if I agree with that. It was weird. But we also have discussed how incredibly generic Ryder looks and how we can't really tell him apart from anyone else. So the only reason we probably can tell them apart is because we've been watching 4 seasons of Fits already.
Yeah.
One has a slightly more square jaw than the other now that I've pulled them up and I'm looking at them side by side.
Yeah.
And that's about the only difference that you can tell.
Probably Sam, right? Sam's the one with the square jaw?
Yeah, I would say.
Yeah.
Okay.
I follow
Ryder
him on
has a little bit more of an
Instagram.
oval shape.
Yeah.
Yes. It's like longer in the face.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so they steal back the trophy and Blaine decides to stay.
Yes. Stay with the Glee.
With William McKinley High School,
Yes.
the New Directions.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, yes. All of the blah, blah,
Yeah.
blah, blah.
So let's talk about Finn. Finn is taking the place of Will. He is 10 times already a more interesting teacher than Will ever was.
Yes.
Is Will Mr. Shoe?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right.
He gives a really bad lesson and he has this really bad idea of them singing all the songs of the world and the costumes of the world.
Can we just for a moment pause and talk about his outfit really quick? So the
His
first
superhero
outfit, the first outfit we see him in, which is khaki pants and the long sleeve button up with a sweater vest on top. I was like, is he trying to look like Mr. Shoe? And I think he was. I think
Yeah,
he's
I think he
trying to
was.
look like he looked like Mr. Shoe. And I was like, oh my God, Finn, what are you doing? It was at this moment.
We also need to pause because I need to ask you a question, having not watched the show. Is Finn graduated at this point and he's a substitute teacher?
Yeah, kind of. Yes, he's
is-
graduated.
He graduated. He has no credentials, but they're like, you just need to be an adult.
So he's
So
not
jerk.
he's not a substitute teacher. He's like a substitute.
He's a fill-in. Because
Fill-in.
in the universe of Glee, substitute teachers are akin to cowboys.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Gwyneth Paltrow played one and she'd just be like, I'm a sub and like disappear into the night. Yeah.
So this is Finn's very first time
This is first day.
leading the Glee Club as a teacher, as an adult figure.
Yes.
Yes. Although I feel like it shouldn't be this hard for him because he was technically like the captain of the
captain,
Glee Club
yeah.
last year. So but he walks in looking like Mr. Shoe and then he can't find
The marker. He
the
breaks
marker.
the marker.
He breaks a marker when he's trying to use it on the whiteboard and he can't find another marker and he like looks in a trophy cup and on the shelves and I was just like, oh Finn, oh you darling boy, get it together.
Yeah. Are they supposed to sing Foreigner songs by Foreigner in all the languages of the world?
Yeah, so the theme for
Sectionals
is
Foreigner.
foreigners. Foreigner?
Yeah. So they're going to dress in ethnic costumes and sing Foreigner songs in different languages. And that is a terrible idea.
It's real bad.
It's giving me It's a Small World vibes.
Majorly.
And oh boy. Yeah.
I'm really glad that they didn't even like attempt it. Like really, really glad.
Yeah, when I think about Foreigner, I feel like I only know one song, and that's I Want to Know What Love Is. Are there any other Foreigner songs? Did they come out with any and they're just not popular? Or I don't know. I can't see what his vision was.
I could
yet.
not pick Foreigner out of a lineup of music.
Me neither.
Exactly. So
Are
I
you talking about the
appreciate-
song that's like, I want to know what love is?
That is exactly the one song that I know by them.
I did not even know that was Foreigner.
And I only know that because I know my parents have been to their concert and have their CD, but I couldn't tell you what the rest of them are.
Interesting.
Yeah.
But I suppose like the theme doesn't necessarily have to be considered the band. It could be anything having to do with being a foreigner. right? I don't know. The themes for these
75% vintage.
Yeah, I don't understand. They're weird. They're real weird. So yeah, I don't know what they're going for with that one.
So they're like, this is later. So then Finn is talking to Coach Beast, who is dressed as a superhero because she's the faculty advisor for Blaine Superhero Club. Because Beast is the best. And she's talking about how, like, you have to appeal to the kids, like, go on to what they're into, like, get on their level. And he's like, they just don't see me as an adult. And then he drinks coffee and he's like, oh, that's disgusting. Is that what coffee tastes like?
I laughed out loud. I knew it was coming. But I thought it was funny anyway.
So he decides that for his lesson, they're going to do dynamic duets and they're going to focus on being a team like the Avengers. And he's going to pair people together to do duets, and the rest of them are going to focus on coming up with songs for sectionals. Ryder and Kitty have officially joined the Glee Club because we weren't looking. Well, we weren't looking because they were in Greece. And Ryder basically said initially that he didn't have time to be in Glee Club, but here he is.
Yeah, and I don't know why Kitty's there, except that I don't know.
Her weird vendetta against Marley.
Yeah. She's like inserting herself into Marley's friend group so that she can take her down from the inside.
So is Marley the girl who she sang the duet with?
Yeah.
Okay. I have a lot to say about that relationship. We don't have to say it now, but I do have a lot to say.
We will get to that little toxic trash heap. So then he gives him the lesson, and we'll get to that. And then at one point, we'll get to how he helps Ryder. He does more for Ryder than Mr. Shu would have done. Mr. Shu would have had Gwyneth Paltrow come and sing Conjunction Junction again. And that's probably it.
I second that. Honestly, I can see Finn as being like working up to be a good teacher.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like the storyline for him.
I watch a spinoff with Finn's first year as a teacher. That would be so funny.
Because he's Treble Clef, Uniter of Glee Clubs or something. That's a superhero.
Yes, persona. He comes in dressed like a superhero. It's something my eyes will never unsee.
He's wearing baggy shorts, which is a good idea because you should not wear super tight clothing when teaching children.
That would be inappropriate.
Yeah.
Yes.
But they apparently can wear super tight clothing and run around, and that is apparently fine.
Yeah. Shouldn't be sexualizing children anyway.
Should not be sexualizing children. Agreed. But Kitty's outfit was Catwoman from Batman. Like,
yep.
Good Lord.
Skin tight. But Finn, though, before he dons his superhero outfit, I just want to say, like, his actor is what, like 32?
Yeah.
He actually looks like a 32-year-old now, even though he's supposed to be graduated 1 year out of high school. And I'm just like, they probably shouldn't have put him in these like adult clothes, because now all I can see is an adult Finn. Like, yeah, that's it.
Yes. So then they're happy with Finn. They get the trophy back. And they're like Uniter of Glee Clubs, Uniter of Friends. They get him a little fanny pack as utility belt with Pepto-Bismol, a Barbie head from Britney.
Yeah, which Hannah doesn't understand, and neither do I. But I mean,
he was there.
Yep.
I can't remember what else was in there. Like. But
I don't remember either.
I only watched this episode yesterday. But they're happy with him. he gets a little medallion, a little pin with the treble clef symbol. And I thought that was a really sweet gift.
Yeah.
And so then, and a shout out to Don't Stop Believing, where they all wear red.
That's what it was an actual like callback to that?
Yeah.
Okay.
The whole new Glee Club is all wearing red shirts, and they sing a song which to this day, I don't know what it's about. They sing Some Nights.
So weird. That song's lyrics make no sense.
Yeah, I always listen and I'm like, what is this about? I feel like it's about something.
Some nights I wish that my lips would build a castle.
What does that mean? Sometimes I wish they just fall off. No lips, no mouth, or just no lips.
I feel like that song, you know how Freddie Mercury always described Bohemian Rhapsody as just like a song of fun things that rhyme. That's kind of the vibe that I get from every single fun song is just like, we tried to find things that rhyme and don't make sense. And I love fun. I love all of their music. Well, not all. I love a lot of their music. I take it at face value. I do not try to read into it.
It doesn't really have a real deep meaning, I don't think. But it is fun to sing. Hence the name of the band.
Yep.
So yeah, they all sing Some Nights. Kitty rolls her eyes at Marley. Tina barely gets a solo despite having been in the Glee Club since its inception. She just gets to go whoa, whoa, whoa.
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Tina sometimes is furious at her treatment, and I'm always with her.
Yeah.
Even though she's kind of become terrible this season.
She's I don't like her the way she's acting right now, but I'm not gonna say that it's unwarranted.
Yeah. So that's the end of Finn's learning to be a leader storyline. So let's get into the love triangle / duets. Jake asks Marley to hang out, and instead of saying no for herself, Ryder comes in and is like, we have plans on Friday. She's coming to cheer the football team on. And then they start pushing each other. They're arguing over her, and she's like, guys, stop. This is stupid.
I
love it.
Yeah, we have switched storylines. We're all the way back at the beginning of the episode again. Okay, so Marley drives me crazy in this because she has absolutely no autonomy whatsoever and makes no decisions for herself.
Until the end. But I don't even, it's not even there's no arc. It's just you know what? I'm done. And then...
Yeah, I couldn't handle it. If I was Marley, I probably would have just walked away. Why did she even stay there?
Attention's addicting. I'll tell you that. So Finn breaks up the fight. Then later he assigns Jake and Ryder to be duet buddies. So then Jake is like, can we agree this whole thing's stupid? And Ryder's like, then don't do it and get kicked out of Glee Club. Megastud won't care. And he's like, Megastud? And he's like, that's my superhero name. And he's like, so you're just going as me? There is a great line where Ryder is like, oh, because you're a badass. And you know how I know you're a badass? Because you ride a razor scooter.
Yes.
Because that was a scene early on when we meet Jake. He's like, oh yeah, I'm a badass. And he razor scooters down the hall. And you're just like, ooh.
Yeah, that was pretty funny.
So that was good. Ryder is still kind of a self-righteous prick.
Yeah, he's not super. I don't know. I'm really picky about my friends and who I hang out with. And so I don't think I'd hang out with either of them.
Yeah. They're not very likable characters.
Nice, genuine people.
Yeah. So then they sing I am Iron Man. That's a different song. I am Superman. And they like rip off their suits and they're in like both in mega stud superhero outfits. And they are like aggressively singing at Marley in the tradition of Glee. Remember when Finn aggressively sang Jesse's Girl at Rachel?
Yep.
Which is a great song.
It is a great song. It was a great cover, but the Glee context was a choice.
Yes.
So they're singing aggressively at Marley, and Kitty's like watching in resentment. And then they start punching each other, and then they break each other up.
Yeah.
Finn and Sam break them up.
This duet devolves from a duet into a slugfest.
Like two slugs fighting each other.
Yes, exactly.
So then Finn is like setting them down, and he's all like, "You're supposed to learn to get along, not karate chop each other in the face."
Well, okay, to be fair, like, I think this is one of those moments where Finn might have learned maybe don't put two people that really can't get along in the same group project together.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't always turn out the way you want it to.
And Ryder's like, Jake, I don't like this guy. I get your point, but I don't like Jake. He's working his way through every girl at this school, and Marley deserves better. And then Jake is like, you don't know what Marley wants or needs. And I'm like, fair, neither do you.
Yeah, I mean, both of them are right about each other, but neither of them are right about Marley.
Yeah. So then he's like, you have to sit in a dark room and tell each other your deepest, darkest secret. And I was like, okay. So
in
then
what world would that ever work out, though? Can I just pause this there?
Only Glee. That's it.
If I was paired in a room with my sister-in-law, who is the one person who I hate most in the entire world, and I will publicly say that on this podcast.
Okay, I was like, oh boy.
Hopefully she doesn't listen to
I'm
this.
almost
Okay.
done with the whole bottle
she
of
already
wine,
knows.
so I'll publicly say that. I would never tell her anything. I would sit there until my detention or whatever this exercise was over, and I would say nothing. So I don't get how that scene ever worked out and would never work out in real life.
No, it wouldn't. Because if you hate someone, you're not going to ever tell them your vulnerabilities. Right. That's just like instinct 101.
Exactly. It's to quote one of my favorite YouTube phenomenons, a Harry Potter musical. You don't tell a girl you like her, it makes you look like an idiot. Same scenario. You don't tell your villain your biggest weakness, because that just makes them beat you up.
Yeah.
And die. Yeah.
Do you recognize Blaine from anywhere?
Do I? What? Yes. I love it.
So then they're in the locker room, and Sam has a jock strap on his face, and he's like, when Gotham was in ashes, and he's like, great job, Bane. Is that a jock strap? And he just walks away. Or he's like, let the games begin.
Yeah. Yep. Sam. Why do they have to turn him into this?
I like it.
I will say
it was funny.
Really appreciate that, though, because I often quote Bane from The Dark Knight, number 3. Batman, The Dark Knight, that was the third Batman. I'm sorry, I'm almost done with an entire bottle of wine. So
I'm trying to
worth
think
it hard.
It's The Dark Knight Rises.
That wasn't out yet, was it?
It was out, yeah.
The third one?
Yeah, it had just come out. No,
What?
no, it hadn't.
No, they
I
referenced
so.
it twice already in this season.
But when
Okay,
did
you can
this-
reference Bane without referencing that movie.
No, because Ryder's like, I haven't even seen the new Batman yet when we meet
Yeah, but
him.
there were 3 of them. It could have been.
No, it was earlier this season.
The Dark Knight released. Oh, The Dark Knight Rises came out July 20, 2012.
This is
When did
2012.
this episode come out?
November 2012.
Okay.
So they were referencing it.
Yeah.
That makes me feel really old.
Yeah, sure does.
This was my freshman year of college.
It was because that came out, the movie came out. I saw it. I was working at a camp up in northern Michigan, and I was literally the only one in the theaters. It was in Big Rapids. And I was the only one in the theater watching The Dark Knight. And then I became obsessed and quoted Bane all the time. Because if you hold your hand over your mouth like this and kind of speak through the front of your mouth, you sound exactly like it. And it's amazing. And I still do it all the time.
Nice.
And end quote.
So they're lifting weights or whatever, and Jake hands Ryder a note, and he opens it. He's like, don't just hand me a note. Be a man. Tell me face to face. And then Jake's like, okay, I don't feel like I fit in. I'm half white, half black, half Jewish. And then it shows scenes of people being like, I have a half black, or I have a black joke. Since you're half black, you can half listen. Or people are like, are you an Oreo or a toasted cracker? So he's dealing with racism at school. He never feels like he belongs.
Mm-hmm.
Very realistic. I get it. And then Ryder's like, you know what? This whole thing is stupid. And Jake's like, hey, you can't just make me tell you something and then not say anything. And then Ryder is like, you know why I made you say it out loud? Because I couldn't read the note.
And then I was like, how did he get through high school if he doesn't know how to read? And then I made the jump to he probably has dyslexia. But
that is not what dyslexia is.
no.
And Liz has a whole paragraph written in her notes about how this made her very angry.
Do you have dyslexia?
I do not, no. But dyslexia, oftentimes you get like letters mixed together.
Right.
Dyslexia is you do not know how to read. You do not know how to spell. Dyslexia is like getting just some things jumbled around.
Yeah, I have dyslexia.
I'm pretty sure most dyslexic people know how to spell the word pretty. Pretty, not P-R-I-T-Y. As I feel like the way that they portrayed somebody with dyslexia was so wrong on
honestly,
many levels.
So we're getting ahead of ourselves. We're not at that scene yet, but
we're coming to that scene. So
Okay.
yeah.
I didn't know you were dyslexic.
It's very mild, and my mom wanted me to get tested apparently, and I refused.
Okay.
But Cullen, who is a very strong writer,
Yeah, and I read a lot.
Spell all of your basic words, correct?
Yeah, I read a lot growing up. Yeah, so it's not quite because my brother. It's like a family thing, and
Wait, why did you refuse if it was a family thing?
I was stubborn.
I was just curious.
To be fair, Ryder also was he didn't want to take the test either. He's like,
Because you don't want, when you're a teenager, at least when I was a teenager, you don't want to be different or special. You just want to fit in.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to be differentest.
I know.
The most different. This was my dream as a teenager.
You just weren't like other girls.
You're fulfilling my dream right now. Thank you.
Yeah, no. So Jake goes to tell Finn, hey, there's something about Ryder you should know. And then Finn takes Ryder to the special education teacher, which they suddenly have. They did not help Brittany with the special education teacher.
No.
have not helped Becky with the special education teacher. This just suddenly have one. And Ryder's resistant, and Finn's like, this will help. And I agree with Liz. I feel like it was grossly mishandled. I liked the way they portrayed the special education teacher as just like, hey, you just need special help. Like, she seemed very calm and reasonable, which is unusual for a Glee teacher.
Yes, very unusual.
And like I get what they were trying to do, because they were trying to say, like, hey, it doesn't mean you're stupid. It just means your brain works differently. And that's what Finn says, because Ryder's like, my dad's a PhD. How would he feel if he had an idiot for a son? And all this time, I just knew I had to apply. People were saying I just had to work harder and apply myself, but it just wouldn't work. And I was stupid. And like, so I got like the emotion they were going for. I just felt like the way they portrayed dyslexia specifically, like not being able to.
Horrible.
Yeah. Like, I didn't do enough research. Honestly, the way that they showed the testing, because they did like a montage of him taking this test, I was expecting like a similar sort of what is dyslexia? How would you classify that?
Learning disability.
Learning disability?
Yeah.
Okay. So I was expecting a different learning disability because I didn't recognize any of the testing that was going on as like indicative of dyslexia. And that's how bad it was. So I was like expecting something else, still a learning disability, but not dyslexia.
Yeah. But yeah, as typical Glee, they always overshoot and go for a more dramatic portrayal of something than what it actually is.
Yeah.
So yes. So I'm going to finish the Jake Ryder stuff before we get to Marley and Kitty, just while we're on the Jake Ryder wave.
Mm-hmm.
So then Ryder's like, Finn, I really owe you one. And he's like, you owe Jake. And then Jake is in line and he's talking with Marley's mom and he's being charming and nice. And her mom says like, oh, she talks about you all the time. And I'm like, okay, mom, way to insert yourself.
Yeah, never gonna tell my mom anything ever again. Wow.
I totally relate to that though, because again, we'll proudly publicly say this. My mother is the town's largest gossip. And you go to her and you say, I'm going to tell you a secret. Do not tell anyone. Everybody knows 2 hours later. So I found this very relatable that, yep, that sounds about right.
That's not my mom. See, my mom can keep a secret. That's my aunt.
We all know an adult.
We know
adult being somebody who's at least 20 years older than us who is like this.
Yeah. And so then people are like, get back to work, dump truck. And he's like, what did you just call her? They're like, she's like a deep fried fat dump truck or whatever. And he's like, well, there's only two of you. So you make this easy. And they're like, actually, it's all of us. And then Jake's like, or Ryder's like, hey, leave him alone. He's with me or whatever. Like, he's my boy. And like, you mess with him, you mess with me. And then like Artie and Tina show up, I think. They're like,
yeah, it was like a bunch of random members of the Glee Club.
And then Becky.
It was like, yeah, it was like a bunch
Becky
of
had
misfits.
a fork.
Yeah.
And then they're just like, okay, whatever. And they leave him alone.
But I don't understand why all the other people showed up when Ryder's the only one who like got on the good side of Jake.
Yeah,
I don't know. I did remember
a note here that says, who even bullies the cafeteria lady? Like,
no one. Because you won't
growing up, I couldn't even tell you who my cafeteria ladies were, except one of them was literally my next door neighbor, who she was. Like, so I knew her. Nobody talks to them. All you do is you say thank you and you continue to move on. And I don't mean that in a diminishing way. It's that usually, like high school students, they get into the cafeteria line with their friends and you're talking to your friends the entire time. You're not paying attention to your surroundings. So who takes the time to bully a cafeteria lady or bully any adult in that way?
I hate the way they make her just take it. I would love, because she's like, I lost 6 pounds this month.
Which is a big deal.
Yeah, I mean, good for her.
It's good for her, but like the way they portray it as like that's all she wants or aspires to, and like I would rather her when the kids start calling her fat, just be like, "Listen here, you shithead." Like,
yeah, she has like no self like respect.
She doesn't stand up for herself when she's clearly the adult in this scenario. And if I had a bunch of punks trying to make fun of me, my almost 30-year-old ass would not be handling idiots talking to me that way. So, I mean, it definitely, like, if I was 18 and my peers were making fun of me that way, I definitely would have taken it. But as you get older, you still kind of take shit from your peers, I guess. But from somebody who's 30 years younger than you and is clearly the adult in the scenario, she should have done something. And it was silly that she didn't.
Yeah, I mean, especially when she's in the environment where she has authority. If you're in an environment when you don't have authority, I think it becomes more difficult, especially if you're getting ganged up on. Like, because I know people that have been bullied by younger, like students, like high school students, but it was when they were on the subway or, you know, like on a train, and you don't have anyone backing you up. You don't have anything like that. It can become much more devastating of an experience. But if you're backed up by authority and also everyone else who's working next to you, like, what are her coworkers doing? Like, what the hell? You know what I mean? So I think in that situation, she should have a lot more self-respect and literally just like put those kids in their place.
But just stand there.
Yeah.
Oh, there's something I was going to say. But you can always use my grandma's famous words. She had a coworker that used to make comments about her weight, and she was like, "I can lose weight, but you'll always be ugly."
Did she actually say that to her face? Wow.
I want to say that to so many people.
Good for her. Yeah.
Say that, you know, on the day that you can.
Yes.
You know what I'm talking about.
Yep. Yeah. So then Jake calls Puck, who's in Hollywood Boulevard, which is a disgusting place. You can ask our mutual friend Allie, who just was honeymooning here and was texting me about how gross Hollywood Boulevard
They went to Hollywood Boulevard on their honeymoon?
Not only Hollywood Boulevard.
Okay. She knows you. Why didn't she ask for good places to go?
Is this our mutual friend, Cullen?
Yeah.
Okay.
She was Snapchatting me. She's like, "I'm in LA." And I'm like, "What?" And then she was like, "Yeah, I went to Hollywood Boulevard. It was disgusting." And I'm like, "Yep."
Yeah, that's not a good place to be.
So he's dressed up as this gross superhero and he's taking pictures with tourists, and it's disgusting, and it's Puck, and it's always gross. And Jake calls him suddenly and is like, "What do you do when you like a girl and this other guy likes a girl, but you're suddenly cool and you don't want to be a dick?" And he's like, "Don't be a dick, but like keep pursuing her."
It wasn't even keep pursuing her. It was more like,
don't give up.
Wait around and she'll eventually come to you.
Yeah, like you have Puckerman pheromones or whatever.
Yeah, it was really weird.
That was
like
really
she's
weird.
a fly and you're a fly trap. It was that sort of thing.
She's just going to automatically be attracted to you because of who you are. And I was like, that's the most arrogant thing any man can say.
Yep.
And that's Puck.
Yep.
The literal rapist.
Yes.
I was going to ask, is this the guy who was indicted for child pornography?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
He's also a rapist in the narrative of the show.
Yes. I wonder
In
why
the
he plays the
show?
part so well.
Well,
In the show?
our definitions of sexual assaults have become more clear since Glee officially was airing.
Yes.
But he gets Quinn drunk and then has sex with her and she gets pregnant. And she's like, I only had sex with you because you got me drunk.
He also has like laid claim to girls that
Their boobs weren't done growing.
Yeah, like their breasts are still growing. So that was really gross. And then he also went in the complete opposite direction and was known for having sex with cougars all the time. So he was definitely getting
Preyed upon, sexually assaulted in that way.
What?
He was getting sexually assaulted in that way.
Yes, he was getting sexually assaulted himself. He is a mess of a character. They did a terrible job with this one.
Liz's face is just like a puckered face of horror.
I don't even know what to say. Like, geez, good Lord.
Yeah.
Jeez. Yeah. I definitely thought that entire dialogue between Puck and his stepbrother, half-brother, his half-brother was weird. And kind of like could have gone without it. Like that whole scene, I feel like maybe they were just trying to pull Puck in because they wanted to pull Puck in.
Yeah, 100%. It made no sense. It added nothing.
I wonder if like his contract says he had to appear so many times in a season and they were like, okay, where do we write him in? This was it. Completely terrible.
Yeah.
So let's talk about emotional terrorist Kitty and Marley.
OMG.
Before we get there, Jake also has a great line where he's like, right, what kind of name is Ryder Lynn? It sounds like your parents named you after a cowgirl doll that came with her own horse. And I did
It actually
enjoy
sounds like Ryder Finn, which isn't that the name?
Finn Rider?
Flynn Rider?
Flynn Rider, yes. Yep.
Flynn Rider. Who is a devilishly handsome, well, I guess technically a villain in Disney Tangled.
Is he a villain? I thought he was a prince.
Flynn
Well,
Rider.
he's technically a prince, but like in the beginning, he's a villain, right? Because he's a thief.
Flynn Rider's not a prince.
He's the romantic interest of a princess.
When he marries a princess.
Yeah.
Yes, at the end of the movie. I don't even think they're officially married by that time.
By the end of the movie, he says, even though she asked a whole bunch of times, I can say yes.
Yes, but they're engaged. They're not married yet.
Yeah, there is a whole TV show and a short, but there's a short where they get married.
Soon to be prince.
Soon to be prince, yes. Yeah, so he's a rogue. I don't know if I would say like full-on villain. He's definitely a rogue.
There you go.
Chaotic neutral.
Oh, yeah.
Chaotic neutral to chaotic good.
Yes.
He leans towards more chaotic good, at least, like middle-ish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, by the end, he's chaotic good.
In the beginning, he would be a chaotic neutral. Stealing
yes, for sure.
Stuff. Yeah.
Until,
True love.
Yes, he falls in love and then he realizes he'll do it. Okay, we're going to stop talking about Tangled because I like that movie too much.
Yes, on our other podcast, Tangled. Tangled Boot.
So then they're talking about superheroes and Kitty is like, the only almighty superhero is Jesus Christ. And Joe is like, amen. And she's like, no one asked you, which I love that they have like Joe, the Christian character, and Kitty, the evil Christian character, who's always mad whenever Joe agrees with her, like brings up God. Me and Liz met. We were both part of InterVarsity Christian Fellowship in college. And I feel like we might have known a couple kitties.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. Not so fun. So Kitty is paired with Marley, and in the past, Kitty has taught Marley to have an eating disorder.
Yes. But I thought, and this is where I was a little confused this episode, because at one point, Marley had decided not to do that anymore. Like, she made a decision.
Because because Ryder said he didn't want to kiss a girl but had puke on her breath.
Yes, but it was still sort of a decision. Like, I thought we had come to the end of that storyline.
Oh no.
Colin's throwing beer bottles around.
It's like rolling so far away.
If I have a note here.
I can't kick it.
If I were a parent, and
if you were a what? Sorry.
If I was a parent, if I was a mother of a child, a teenager, let me paint this scenario. Pretend Liz is old, and her child says, "I'm watching Glee," and I sat down and I watched this episode for the first time, and this was the episode where I decided if my child was going to continue watching Glee or not continue watching Glee. Liz would say, abso-freaking-not, because they normalized bulimia as something that's totally fine to do. Your friends bully you into doing this, and it's a way to lose weight. And there was no discussion if this is a healthy thing or not healthy thing. And fortunately, I have never been a victim of an eating disorder, so I don't really know. I don't know the psychology behind it and how to get, cure people of this disease. But this episode, the way that they handled that entire, I'll tell you when to stop being bulimic, and if you look fat in your outfit, I'll tell you. This entire episode, if I was a parent, I would never let my child watch the show again. The way that they handled that entire thing.
Yeah. And they didn't really handle it very well when they first brought it up either. It's never really been handled well. They haven't.
Well, as someone who's had an eating disorder, I kind of disagree.
With what?
I agree that I can, especially this episode, it's kind of left unresolved. They're kind of doing a longer arc with it. But I feel like it's very realistic. And Kitty is obviously shown to be a bad person. I do wish there was maybe something hinting at hey, this is really unhealthy. But Kitty is shown, Kitty's trying to get Marley to do this to mess with her and to ruin her life. And so it is shown to be a bad thing. And it just I don't know, I really connect with Marley in these scenes.
But should they have done more in this episode to make this seem like bulimia is not okay? The answer is yes. Because
yes, the answer is yes.
Me watching it, I was waiting for that big and to your point, Cullen, if they are doing a longer arc, they should have done more. I know they said in the beginning with the recap, Kitty is making her Marley feel like she's fat or whatever, but she's clearly not. So again, as somebody who was fat in high school, I'd look at her and I'd be like, what is this show? But me watching this and this being the only episode that I've seen in quite some time, I was shocked the entire time. With her kind of pointing her fingers down her throat. Are you still doing this? The entire way they handled this. And then again, didn't kind of reiterate throughout sometime during the episode, this is not okay, or do something to tell teens who is the target market of this show, that bulimia is is a disease. It was very shocking to me how they handled this.
I agree that I feel even if they're doing a longer arc, I feel in this episode, Marley should have told Kitty, wait, you're toxic. And we'll get to the moment where she should have said that. So then even if Marley was still struggling with the eating disorder, we're going to have at least some acknowledgement that Marley's like, wait, you're a bad friend. This is bad advice.
I wish that we had some indication that she was still struggling with the eating disorder before this episode. Mm-hmm. I think because they tried to wrap it up.
But that was only last episode.
What?
That was only last episode.
It was last episode? Wow, it's been a long time.
We've been on hiatus of recording.
It was last episode.
Yeah.
But still, I still feel like they tried to wrap it up last episode. And basically everything that she said is now null and void.
Yeah, but when they initially tried to wrap it up, it was because a boy told her not to. Yeah. And I'm glad that doesn't fix it.
Well, it doesn't fix it, but in the Gleeverse, it would have. So now we're just in like we're in no man's land. I don't know where we are. But also another thing that was inconsistent was Kitty, because Kitty had told Marley last episode that she never was bulimic because she didn't have to.
And this time she said she was.
Exactly.
I did catch that.
Yeah. So there's just a lot of inconsistencies in this particular storyline, which does not help.
Yeah. So Kitty is like, are you still making yourself puke? And Marley's like, I've done it every day. And she's like, good.
No. It was once a week.
She said, I've done it every day this week.
Every day.
It was every day this week?
Yeah.
Well, I had that wrong.
She's going to lose her teeth.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah.
Stomach acid is not good for your teeth, ladies and gentlemen. And everyone else.
Yeah. So it's pretty bad. And Marley's in a really bad situation. And Kitty's like, so Kitty and her are assigned to be duet partners. And Marley's like, I can't do this duet. And Kitty's like, is it because my voice is crystal clear and you sound like you have a snot bubble in the back of your throat? I'm not saying that, other people are. And Marley's like, no, it's because of the costumes. And then Kitty picks Holding Out for a Hero to be their song. And she's like, it highlights my crystal clear voice and your mousy softness. And she's like, my superhero alter ego is going to be femme fatale because that is French for kill women. And that's what I'm going to do. And Marley's like, that's not what it means. And so then she's like, if you're fat in your costume, I'll tell you, I'll be honest. And so Kitty comes out in the bathroom in her femme fatale costume and is like, I'm sexy. And then she's like, come out, Marley. And Marley comes out in her superhero costume, which is ironic because she goes on to play Supergirl.
Oh, yeah.
And she's like covering her chest. And she's like, stop covering your chest. And she's like, oh, your mom made this. And she's like, what's a WF mean? And she's like, wallflower. Because that's how I feel. And she's like, no, you're going to be women fierce. And I'm going to buy your clothes now. And they're going to show off your bitchin' bod. So Kitty's like playing this weird manipulation.
Yeah, she's all over the place. I don't understand her.
And so then they go out and they sing Holding Out for a Hero, which
is by Bonnie Tyler, who also sings Total Eclipse of the Heart, and Liz is totally into it.
But that song is owned by the fairy godmother from Shrek 2.
I don't know. Someone on TikTok put the scene in Star Wars where Kylo Ren decides to go back and help Rey with this song behind it, and it's perfect. It's so good.
Yeah. So then they're singing Holding Out for a Hero. It goes pretty well. And then what do I have on my notes? So then Ryder postpones his date with Marley because he has to leave right after the game because he has to study and he has an early appointment with this doctor who specializes in dyslexia, and it's really important. And I totally get it. I'm with Ryder.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And
so good for him to hold off on the date and do this. Take care of him.
Yeah.
I I don't know. In high school, I might not understand, but it's high school, so it wouldn't matter. So
Yeah. And then Kitty's like, oh, he's blowing off because he has to study. You better keep throwing up and hit that elliptical because you must be looking fat. It must be all those yogurt covered raisins. Like, I don't think you look bloated. That's what people are saying. And I wanted Marley to just be like, fuck you. Bye, bitch. Like, you are a threat to our nation's national security. You are a terrorist. But she has a kind of a cool moment where she's like, oh, Marley would have waited around. I'm not. And she goes up to Jake and she's like, what are you doing Friday night? And he's like, going on a date with you. And she's like, good. Which I get, because whenever I pandemic dated, so I did a lot of Zoom dates. And whenever people would cancel, I'd just be like, okay, time to find a new date for tonight. Like,
I'm totally there with you. When I was dating the summer before I met my husband, there was a weekend I went on 6 dates that weekend. And if somebody canceled, there was another date. So I'm totally like, same thing. Like, I totally relate to her. I went on dates with so many people that summer. And then I met my husband, and then we got married 9 months later. That's another thing. But but to that point, I feel like in high school, I was switching who I liked. Who was my crush of the day, right?
Same. I was the same way.
Constantly. Somebody was hot and somebody was not. So I totally related to that. And when I think about high school and like who the target market is, who is watching this, other than our group of almost 3-year-olds here, who sometimes like work is just like high school, to be honest. But
yes.
So as an adult, I'm like, A, you should have totally respected his opinion. But B, I totally get you have literal Satan in your ear telling you that you're not good enough and this guy is not interested in you, which as a woman, as a girl, a 17-year-old girl, I totally get. In order to be popular, you need to be dating somebody, right? So, or in order to prove yourself, you need to be dating someone as a woman in the United States or literally anywhere else. You're not really a woman unless you have a man on your arm, right? Hashtag sexism.
If you can't hear me,
I totally get.
Yeah, if you didn't hear me, I was rolling my eyes.
That annoying patriarchy. Yeah. So that's really the end of our episode. I think that's a good note to end it on. The patriarchy sucks.
Yeah. I mean, everyone can agree on that.
So I think it's Tina time. Did you choke on ice?
No.
Tina had
6 lines.
That is 8.
I counted 6, damn it.
I counted 8.
We're gonna go with 7.
I have a final thing that I wanted to point out.
Okay.
They said a couple of times, sectionals is only a week away. How have they not picked out a song for sectionals if it's only a week away? What is going on?
That's one of those things where you can tell you're new to the show because we're so used to the fact that they're like, we have to go to nationals. Like they fly to nationals with no set list at one point. We're
and
so
then they
used
pick it out the night before and it's perfectly choreographed.
Yep. That actually happened in the show.
So like,
but
we're so
even
used
in Pitch Perfect, they know what songs they're singing and they practice. Not in Glee.
No, nobody practices in Glee.
We kind of neglected to hit on this, but they're all superheroes. And their power is telepathically knowing the
choreography.
Yes. They've done it so many times, they just know.
So let's talk MVPs and LVPs.
Okay.
So Liz, who is your least favorite character this week?
Oh, definitely Kitty. She's a bitch. Am I allowed to say that on the podcast?
Yeah, I've been swearing this whole time. Yeah.
Yes. Don't pick me. I don't know yet.
I'm going with Kitty too. I go with Kitty like every week.
Yes, you do.
But I hate Kitty.
Who was really bad this episode?
Kitty.
Oh, come on.
Puck.
Even though she was smoking hot
for her
outfit for her duet.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually am going to go with Kitty because she is definitely the worst in this episode. Unless you could go with like the group that verbally attacks Marley's mom in the lunchroom.
They suck. Yeah.
They're pretty bad.
That football team.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Liz, who is your MVP?
Really good question.
It's hard this week.
I would maybe pick Sam.
Yeah.
Mainly because of how he really encourages Blaine, who's going through this really hard time. And he just seems like a real, a good friend.
Sam he's definitely on the list for me. But I'm actually going to go with Finn this time, which is somewhat surprising because anytime that Sam is on my list, he usually makes the MVP. But Finn, he was entertaining because I loved watching his transformation into an adult and trying to drink coffee. That was funny. Yes, that was really funny. And I also liked the fact that he actually got Ryder the help that he needed, like an actual teacher, even though he's not one. And I fully support his decision to try and become a teacher because I think he would be a good one. This was a test run, but I could see it. I could see it for his future.
Part of me was thinking Marley because of that last moment, but it does kind of annoy me how she lets Kitty talk to her so awfully. I wish it'd be better if she maybe oh, I'm internalizing this bad advice, but on the surface I'm go away, you're the worst. So I think I'm gonna go with Finn too, because he helped Ryder. I think Mr. Shu wouldn't have done something like that.
No, I don't.
He would have had Gwyneth Paltrow sing. He did something very helpful and concrete. Sam's up there because of Sam helping Blaine, and I always love Blaine. Yeah. So let's talk about the music. We all had a few songs this week. We had My Dark Side, Superman, Holding Out for a Hero, Heroes, and Some Nights. So Liz, what was your least favorite song?
I'm sure Liz is going to agree with me. Heroes.
You got to read them again.
My Dark Side, Superman, Heroes, Holding Out for a Hero, and Some Nights.
The David.
Oh yeah, Heroes. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I would say right behind that is going to be the one that is the duet between the two boys,
Jake and Ryder.
Yes, Jake and Ryder. But
Superhero, right?
Yes, that one actually got saved when it devolved into a fist fight because I was entertained by blood.
No blood.
I know, no blood. There was only one scene ever that Glee had blood in it.
Yes. I'm going with Superman with Jake and Ryder. Mm-hmm. Boring.
Except for the fist fight.
Sure. So yeah, Liz, what was your favorite song?
So, like I've said before, I'm a huge fan of fun. So I really enjoyed Some Nights. But I think it was kind of misplaced. It didn't really make sense in the plot line. So with that being said, Some Nights would be my number 2. Number 1, surprising to me, but considering what we had to pick from, Dark Side. And I wouldn't have normally picked that because it's not my favorite Kelly Clarkson song. But literally since I watched the episode yesterday morning, up until literally tonight, it's been stuck in my head on a repeat. for 48 hours. So definitely Dark Side is going to be what my favorite was.
Wow, 48 hours is a long time.
It is a long time.
If it was stuck in my head for 48 hours, I think it might be my LVP. Or not LVP.
Least favorite.
Yes, LVS, I guess.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to go with Holding Out for a Hero. Because in general, I just like that song. And to be honest, like Kitty and Marley sing a mean duet. They did pretty good together. And it was fun to watch them. They had good choreography and everything. Mm-hmm. I was waiting for Kitty to mess it up, but
I was waiting for Kitty to actually hurt someone with her whip.
Yes, actually try and hurt someone on purpose. But she didn't. And it just turned out to be a pretty kick-ass song. So
before I do my favorite song, there was a funny note we missed when Finn was like, oh, my first idea was really bad. And Tina was like, worse than funk. And Artie was like, worse than Night of Neglect, which is some of our least favorite episodes too.
Yes.
So the show is speaking to us. My favorite song was Some Nights. It makes no sense. I just liked it though.
I did sing along to that one.
Yeah.
I did.
So Liz, where can we find you and your podcast on social media?
Oh my gosh. Well, Cullen, let me tell you, first off, like I said before, we are called the Slug Club. For those of you who are Harry Potter fans, the Slug Club is an actual club that appears in book number 6, The Half-Blood Prince. And it's Professor Slughorn's club of his collected favorite students. As a fellow Slytherin, for those of you who know, Slughorn is a Slytherin. I'm a proud Slytherin. I'm definitely a Slughorn Slytherin. He's like not a villain, but if there was a zombie apocalypse, I'm probably letting you get killed to save myself. Yeah, I don't know where I was going with that, but we are the Slug Club. We are on Instagram. You can find us at the Slug Club, or you can find us on Spotify, also at the Slug Club. Also, another thing that I'm going to throw out there. Harry Potter's birthday is this coming Saturday.
Oh, wow. I did not know that. I am also a Slytherin, so I feel that.
I'm a Hufflepuff.
Will you sacrifice yourself for us?
Sure.
Yay! We have the sacrifice.
Hooray! We live.
Awesome.
You can. What were you gonna say?
We live to manipulate another day.
Perfect. You can follow Gleeboot, the podcast, at Gleeboot Pod on Instagram and Twitter and TikTok. And you can follow us at gleebootpod.tumblr.com.
And you can follow me at a.m.swearingen on Instagram. And I promise that I will have more things up there. I'm almost done with my knitted shirt, you guys. I'm almost done. So it's going to be up there pretty soon.
Yay.
Yeah.
So that's the end of our episode. Liz, thank you so much for coming on. We hope you had fun.
Oh my gosh, this was a blast. Invite me every single week. I loved it. Thank you for having me.
Yes, thank you for coming.
So tune in next week for, I think, maybe sectionals. We'll find out.
What? Oh, yeah, because they said it was a week away.
Maybe.
Is that real time or is that TV time? Because if so, we have 6 more episodes until sectional.
All right. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Gleeboot.